Welcome back to my channel. In the previous video, we looked at how to create a form, how to add buttons, and how those buttons work in navigating through the button. We will still learn more about forms later. In this video, we are going to look at a join in a query. Joins are used to combine data from multiple tables based on related columns. They allow you to retrieve data from different tables simultaneously. So this will enable you to create a more comprehensive query and subsequently a report. For this video, we are going to learn about the inner join. So we have about 5 or so joins or types of joins, and the first one that we are going to deal with today is the inner join. And an inner join returns only the records that have matching values in both tables being joined. So therefore it combines rows from two tables based on a specified common column. So the key word here is that the result will only include the matching records. In this database, I have created another table known as the hostel table, and this assigns each student to a hostel, assuming that all students board in the school. And I have alpha, beta, gamma, phi, omega, different hostels, about 5 or so different hostels, and the students have been given, or they have been assigned these hostels. So if I need to find a query that will give me the details of the student, that is the imported student details table, I want all these details, including the details of the hostel that student has been assigned to. Now when you look at this table, you have admission number, and in the imported student details table we also have admission number. So this is the common column. So when we have the inner join, we shall have all the details of students, including the details of the hostel. So to start us off, we are going to go to create. Then since it's a query, we go to query design. So the query design will lead us to selecting the tables, and since we want the hostel table and the imported student details table, we'll double click on hostel and then also double click on the imported student details table. Then we close. Having done so, we now go ahead and create a join between the two tables, and the join is between the admission number of the student in the hostel table and the admission number of the student in the imported student details table. This is done by clicking on the admission number and then dragging that all the way to the next table, from one table to the other one. So that in that case, we shall now have a join, basically a relationship between the two tables. So I'm going to left click and then I will drag all the way to admission number on the imported student details table. So I'll click, drag it, and drop it on the admission number entry, or the field admission number field in the student important student details table. You can actually see that the mouse cursor has an added plus sign at the base of the cursor. So when I drop it, now you can see that there is a line that joins admission number and in the hostel table, and admission number in the imported student details table. So for that case, we can now go down here to this grid and select what we want. Since I want the admission number, name, class, and then gender of the student to be displayed, I will click this arrow here and then select what I want. But remember, in one of the earlier videos, I said it would be easier for us to double click whatever we want and it will be populated in this grid. So I'll start by double clicking the admission number. So admission number is now populated. I'll double click name. I'll double click class, and now gender. Finally, the hostel, and followed with the language, the subject, English, math. Oh, sorry, I double clicked. So English, math, biology. So now we have all the fields that we require, and you can see that all of them are shown, they're supposed to be shown. So if I have to expand this grid, for example, you can see that this is from the table imported student details, imported student details, imported student details, imported. Now hostel will be here. Let us run this query and see how it will look like. So you can clearly see that all the records in imported student details table are displayed, including values of table in the hostel. So this will this actually is the inner join. The inner join will only return values that match in both tables. Let us look at the SQL view or SQL view. So in the SQL view, you can see that we select admission number, name, class, gender, English, math, biology from table imported student details. Now there is something else that is added, inner join. But before we go to that, you can actually see that we have table hostel amidst this, and it is in agreement with the way the values are supposed to be arranged, starting from admission name, class, gender, hostel, but this now is in the second table. So we shall select all those from hostel table inner join. So the inner join here instructs the query to find records that match the hostel from the hostel table and imported student details table. And what is the match from? That is, it will give records of all admission numbers in the hostel that match some records or all records that are in the student details, imported student details table. So you can clearly see that the common denominator here is the admission number and the admission number, but in two different tables. So that is it about the inner join. Now, I just to as a matter of curiosity, I wish to close this query. Yes, I'll want to save. Then I will save it as query inner join. Query inner join. Save. I want this hostel to have a few students without data. Remember that the number of records here are 177. I want to delete this last 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to delete these 5 records from the hostel table. Then with the same inner join, the details are still the same, but I want us to run and let us see whether all the 177 records will be returned. So here you are, all the 177 records are returned. So what happens to those who don't have hostels? You can see here clearly that with an inner join, even null values will be created or will be returned. So let us also go ahead and remove a few students from the hostel table. Now, because I want to use this information much later, what I can do, I need to create another copy. So I'll just right click, copy, and then paste. Now it will ask me what I want to do. I will change the name, and then I'll call it hostel table 2. I have the option to paste only structure or structure and data. I want to paste structure and data. So if I do that, now I have a new table. So I can go ahead and delete these students here. The few students here, you select from the left hand side, the right click, and then delete record. So it will ask me for confirmation. Yes, I now have deleted. I have 173 records. So I want to close this. You can clearly see that I deleted while the the query is open. So I'll just close it and then run it again. Oh, sorry, that's not it. Inner join. How many records are there? So you can see now that we have 172 records. Whereas one gone to, let us see from table. Yes, so you can actually see that we had 172 records, and since only 172 records matched, only 172, the others did not match, because here, yes, we have 177 records. We have 177 records. But since only 172 records matched, those were the records that were returned. So therefore, an inner join will return only values that match in both tables. Until the next video, I thank you.